This edition of the Music Universe podcast is sponsored by Raising Cane's.
Hey everybody, Matt Bailey here.
And Buddy Young, we're at the Raising Cane's corporate headquarters in Plano, Texas on a beautiful stormy day.
He loves storms. I don't, because that means flights get delayed.
Wow.
But this has been fun, a true authentic Texas storm with one of the most authentic brands in food. Raising Cane's, one of the fastest growing fast casual restaurants with delicious food. Really cool event related to country music and the ACMs that are down here this weekend. They had a press conference with Parker McCollum that we will share with you in this episode. Plus, I got to spend a few minutes talking with Raising Cane's owner, Todd Graves.
How did your relationship with Cane start?
You know, I think you have enough guys like we do in our locker room around us, and you know it comes down to the end of the fourth quarter, and we were able to get the ball around, and Coach gave us a good game plan. So you know, to see the ball go in the net early in the game, and then you know if it be a close game at the end, and be able to come out with a W. You know, we got to be ready to play tomorrow night. Miami's back in town, so we're just grateful to get the win.
That's pretty good first.
I've always wanted to do that.
You did great.
I'm sorry. What was your question?
The question was, how did your relationship with Cane start?
Very organic. Todd's a family man, businessman. I like to think of myself. Those two things, obviously, he's a little bit better businessman than I am. But, you know, it's very organic. The chemistry between him and I was very genuine. We were fast friends, and we were friends long before we ever did business together. So once it kind of came time to, you know, start thinking about maybe me being a part of the Raising Cane's team and vice versa, it was an easy yes. You know, it's a very, very genuine relationship. They're one of our big tour sponsors. We've got Raising Cane's on all our 18-wheelers for our Burn It Down tour this year. Anytime we play in a Cane's market, I mean, I've got enough Cane's on my bus after the show to feed a small village. So they take really good care of us, and we try to take really good care of them, and it makes the business aspect of it really easy. Was that your question? Did I answer your question?
Yeah. And then tell us about the game.
Yeah, no shit.
What did you and Todd bond over?
Well, he likes to hunt. I love to hunt. Like I said, he's a family man. I'm a family man. We put a lot of time into working very hard, but also spending a lot of time with the people that we care about and the people we love. And lucky for us, you know, I think each of us are in those circles of our own now. So just very like-minded. And at the end of the day, you know, it's really about friendship. And you can have all the success in the world you want, but if you're not surrounded by the people, you know, that you're really happy to be around, that you truly love and you care about, everything else kind of seems like, you know, it doesn't matter. So for Todd and I, that makes it pretty easy for us.
Yeah, I think it's good to be around people that lift you up and that inspire you, right? It doesn't matter what it is. It's whether it's frying chicken or it's being a country music star. It's about doing things and doing it for the right reasons. And what I like about Parker is he's always trying to get better. Songwriter, singer, what he does is to give back, just like the event last night, ACM Lifting Lives. I mean, him going there headlining that deal raised $700,000. The man is tired, right? He's doing something. It's like, I can go do that. And so that inspires me. It doesn't matter what age it is. I got older friends that inspire me. I got younger. But I want to be around people that fire me up because I can get up every morning and do what I do. And I love what I do, but a lot of it's a lot of work, right? But if you're like Parker's out there getting after it too right now and people like that, it's great. Parker also likes an eclectic group of friends like I do too, right? And our friends, it's like a United Nations in there, you know? And so it's people of all walks of life, but all that same core of doing better for yourself and doing better for people around you. I think that's why we resonated so well. Plus, we like to cut up and have a good time too. So.
Yeah, and if the food wasn't good, I wouldn't be here, I promise.
So you're obviously in town to perform at the ACM Awards. A few years ago, you were nominated and you ended up winning for being a Best New Artist. Can you talk about what the differences in your experience being sort of the new guy and now the established star that they want to play alongside guys like Post Malone, Noah Kahan, Kelsey Ballerini?
Man, it's an honor, and I feel like I get the question about winning the awards pretty often, and I always kind of give the same answer that. You know, it's such an honor to be nominated, and everybody wants to win. I mean, you always want to win, especially if you're competitive. But really, and I mean this genuinely and sincerely, the big win for me is being thought of in the likes of Lainey Wilson and Cody Johnson and Reba McEntire and all this incredible talent in country music that comes together for a night like the ACM Awards. When I was a kid, my big dream was to be a country music singer. So now I walk the same halls and do the same interviews and play on the same shows and the same stages as all these people who are huge country music superstars, and that's really the big win for me at the award shows. If you win the award, if you're nominated, great. But I think just being considered deserving enough to be in the same room as all this crazy talent and this crazy pool of talent in country music. If the ACMs thinks I'm big time enough to, you know, walk the same halls and stand on the same stages as those people, then that's the win for me.
Can you talk about what getting a sponsor for this tour sort of did for the tour in terms of being able to book the venues and what that did for you as an artist to say, I have this big brand behind me and, you know, kind of exploding onto the scene in that regard?
I think it's really the integrity of people that you align yourself with, you know, and the respect that a brand like Raising Cane's garners from people all around the country and the world. And, you know, they, you know, it's kind of like if you do a feature with some big time country singer, you know, people are kind of like, oh, well, if they approve of them, they must be pretty good. And so Raising Cane's is no different in that aspect. And so, you know, they have such a crazy, well-known, recognizable brand that has so much integrity, is respected around, you know, the quality of the product that they put together and put out. And so when people, you know, for me, that's the way I look at it. When people see, oh, Raising Cane sponsors them, you know, they must be genuine people. They must be hardworking people, because Raising Cane's isn't going to work. Todd Graves isn't going to put his brand on anything that's not, you know, a reflection of himself and the brand. So I would say that's probably an easy one to see. I mean, from the outside looking in, if I was a fan and I saw that Raising Cane sponsored an artist, I would probably, you know, be a fan of them as well.
Can I ask, just piggybacking on that a little bit, because I think what you're saying is really interesting. What does it mean to you that someone who has an eye on integrity like that would want to invest in you and want to invest in your music and your tour?
Man, it makes me feel like I'm doing something right. You know, I'm my own worst critic. I'm very, very hard on myself in this business, to the point where it's really a curse a lot of the times how much I overthink things and how much I've always wanted. You know, the way I was raised was good manners and very, very respectful, and you know, so I'm really hard on myself when maybe I swing and miss in this business. And so, you know, when someone like Raising Cane's and Todd Graves wants to, you know, kind of back you or show that they support you, that makes me feel like I swung the bat and hit a home run. So that's I don't take it lightly.
So Parker, you know, country music probably having its biggest pop culture moment ever, right? You have the genre stars having massive success. You have Beyonce, you have Post working into the genre as well. What does that mean to you as someone who's had this dream and now you're on perhaps the biggest stage this genre's ever been on?
Oh, you know, I think there's a pretty good difference between pop country and country. And I like to think of myself in the latter of that category. But, man, I don't know. I'm just a music fan. And I love country music from way back in the day. And then I like a lot of the new stuff that's coming out. And so just to be in the conversation, just to have any kind of platform in a genre that's, you know, going so global right now. And I feel like that's a win for everybody involved. And man, you look at country music, and the one thing that stands out about it over any other genre is the longevity of careers. You've got people that are 20 years old on the award show tonight, and you've got people that are 70 years old on the award show tonight. And so that's something that I think a lot of genres don't have, that kind of sustained success throughout decades of someone's career. And so the pop, kind of hip hop influence that's kind of merging with country music right now, I think only extends that and only furthers that. I mean, it's just more eyeballs on what you do. So I don't think there's any negative side to it at all.
Can you talk about new music?
Yeah, how's the album going, the recording going?
I don't know. You know, I've cut some of this record. I think it's mostly written. I'll still write until the very last minute, but you know, I've kind of gone back and forth on this record. I've put out 4 studio albums. I've put out 2 records on a major label, and you know, I've had 4 number ones, and all this great things have happened for us. God's been really good to me and my family and my band and crew. But you know, I'm kind of at a point where we were kind of trying to rush out a next record, or it felt like we were rushing it, and I just kind of put the brakes on it recently, and I just said, man, I need to step back and take a breath. I'm only going to get to be on my first record deal for so long. I'm going to blink and it's going to be over, and I'll be on to the next. So right in the middle of recording this record, I just kind of put the stop sign up and said, you know, it's too fast. It's not right now. I need to go back in the woodshed and kind of put some more time in and make sure I get this right. And I didn't just want to phone it in. I didn't want to put out a record that sounded like the last two. I really want to go in and kind of, you know, you're so busy in this business and you tour so much and there's so much extracurricular stuff around just singing on stage and writing songs. And, you know, sometimes, you know, you're the boss of your company, you're the CEO and you run the show. And, you know, it took me a long time to be able to kind of have that much confidence and feel like that was really the truth, and now I do, and I've kind of started to utilize that control a little bit, and so that's a long way of saying I have no idea when some new music's coming out, but it's I'm in a really good place right now, and I've written the best songs I think that I've ever written on a major label, and I just want to get it right, so it'll probably, you know, new album sometime early next year, I think. Long story long.
You mentioned the hip-hop influence coming into country and furthering the genre. Has that sound influenced you at all, and might we influence your writing, and might we hear anything in that regard on your upcoming record?
You know, it creeps in every now and then. It's hard to not hear it. Morgan Wallen's really the only one that's done the hip-hop country thing that I've actually really liked, and because I think it's so originally him. He's kind of the one that set the hip-hop country thing off and made it, you know, what it is now. And so I try not to listen to it because I am so impressionable in music. But, I mean, I still, you know, from the time I was a little kid till today, I'm still sitting around trying to write songs that George Strait or Randy Travis or, you know, Reba or Dolly or Townes Van Zandt or any of those guys would listen to and think, you know, that it was quality country music and did something for the genre. So, you know, as soon as I feel kind of the hip-hop stuff start to creep in when I'm sitting around creating, I shut it down pretty quickly. I don't think that's my thing. I don't think switching up and trying to go with what works is ever the answer for anybody, especially not me. And so, you know, like I said, I'm just a music fan. And so I mean, I can go from Lil Wayne to Conway Twitty in one song in my truck. So, but when I'm sitting down and it's me being real and raw and being honest with myself, writing songs, I try to really, you know, stick to what I've always done and stay really true to myself and my roots. And you know, it's hard. You know, the hip hop stuff works clearly. It's massive, but I don't ever think it'll be genuinely and authentically me. And I think it, you know, people would be very obvious if I all of a sudden switched up and wasn't, you know, the real me. So I always keep that in the front of my mind.
You mentioned listening to Lil Wayne in your truck, and you had an interview recently where you said Champagne Moments was part of your playlist. So obviously you're very aware of all that. I won't ask you which side you stand on, but I'm curious your take on how music can be used sort of as a weapon in conflict.
Yeah, you know, actually, I have no idea about all the. I have no clue about any of that. It was actually when I was at F1 with Todd and the guy that was driving the car I was riding in. I said, "Man, put on Champagne Moments." He's like, "You know, it's a Drake diss," and I was like, "I don't give a damn. I like Rick Ross." Like, you know. And I read Rick Ross's book Boss Life and thought it was so good, and I've been a fan of him ever since. And so like I said, I'm just a music fan, man. I think it's kind of funny. I'm like, what if we had that kind of beef in country music and we're putting out diss tracks? It probably wouldn't be as cool, but no, I don't know, man. I'm a fan of all those guys. I think, you know, a lot of those guys at the top of the rap game, Rick Ross and Drake and Weezy's one of my favorite rappers ever. And I grew up in Houston, so a lot of those kind of underground Houston rappers, Slim Thug and Big Mo and you know, Birdman, a lot of those guys I've been fans of since I was a little kid. So I truly am just a fan of the music. Melody is everything for me. And so anytime rappers, you know, kind of lean like they did back in the day into melody before lyrics, and then the lyrics are also great, I'm a fan of it. So I'm an easy sell.
How many tracks did you get into the current album before you put up breaks on it?
6.
And one of those was it the George Strait guest track? Was one of those?
No George Strait guest track. Do you know something I don't know?
Did he guest on it or not?
He did not. No, we're playing Kyle Field in College Station with him this summer. That may be what you're thinking about.
Okay.
It's on my birthday. It's not a big deal.
Would you want him to guess? Could you get him to guess?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, I would want to. No, I could not get him to.
Parker, last two questions. Let's talk about the event last night and the money it raised for the good cause.
That's incredible, man. ACM Lifting Lives. I was really aware of what they did and what they had done for the music community long before they ever asked me to host that thing. And so when they did, and the ACM Awards being in Texas, that was an easy yes for me. It was really an honor to kind of get to be the face of it, per se, and have some buddies out to kind of put on a show that, you know, you spend so much time in the music business and the entertainment business serving yourself. Your tour is for you. Your show, it's all, you're the guy everywhere that you go on your tour. And so when you get to go, and you put so much time into that. So when you get to put time into something that actually raises money and makes a legitimate difference that you can see. I mean, anybody that's tours or is in the music business, any capacity, you have friends, family, loved ones, you know, in the music business that, from mental health to health insurance, I mean, it's just across the board. It's incredible what they do, and we raised $700,000, a little over, I think, last night. And they've, you know, Lifting Lives donated, I think, $4 million during COVID and $2 million since then. And so, you know, it was an awesome opportunity, and we were really honored. My guys were super excited about it, you know, and it's fun. I mean, you spend all year touring and you don't ever get to see your buddies really, you know, a lot. It's kind of the best thing about the award shows, you know, is everybody gets to be in one place for a night. It's very rare in the entertainment business. And so last night was no different. You know, had some great artists and some great talent come out and put on a great show, and kind of you know, just a big mix of different fan bases, from Ashley Cook to Old Dominion, and Jordan Davis came out, Co Wetzel came out. So, you know, it was like a melting pot of all these different country music fans, and you could tell everybody got the same love as anybody else playing on the stage, and it was all for a cause that truly makes a difference in the lives of the people that make the music business run.
It was great you spent your time doing it, because that $700,000, you had a big amount of influence. Everybody wanted to come out and raise that kind of money, and I commend you for spending your time to do that, especially being so busy with all the activities at ACM going on. Last question: tell us what it's like, you know, coming into Dallas, everything around ACMs. What is it like, you know, getting ready for tonight, performing? You're up for an award. What is that like for, you know, we see you on the actual event, but what's it like going into it, and what's it like being on stage?
You know, it's the getting ready part's kind of funny. My wife will spend all day in hair and makeup and all this stuff, hours, and we'll walk the red carpet today, I think at like 4:45. She's already doing hair and makeup and all that stuff. I'll take a shower at 4:30, and I'll get dressed at 4:35, and I'll walk the red carpet at 4:45. So that part's really easy for me, and I have no style. I don't really. You know, if it was me, I'd buy one jacket and one shirt and just wear it to every award show. But luckily, my manager's wife Kelly's my stylist, and I mean, I'd probably end up having to go naked this year if it wasn't for her, because I had nothing. But man, I'm serious. When you're a kid, and my sister and I used to watch these award shows, and then we'd go in our game room and practice like we were singing or winning the awards. We were really little kids, and I don't think anybody ever thought that I would actually end up on these award shows. And I think about that. I've performed on them before, and it's kind of scary because you're on live TV, you get one take, and I'm not focused. I'm thinking about the fact that I'm on TV on the ACM Awards, you know, and that my sister's probably watching this thinking how crazy it is that all these years went by and now I'm on it for real, instead of paying attention to singing the song on live TV and doing well. But it's crazy, man. It's a whirlwind. It all goes by really, really fast. You know, it feels like, you know, you do so much leading up to it just for a few hours, but man, it's such an honor. I mean, me and my guys have worked so hard for so long, and for it to still be going this well and still be growing so fast is incredible. And the award shows are, you know, they're a lot, and it's a long day, but man, it's such a blessing to get to have that recognition and a little spotlight shined on you. And I just try to seize the moment and sit back and enjoy it.
It's awesome. Well, great. As we got to wrap up, Parker's got the next event to go to.
Thanks, guys.
Good man.
Well, it is an honor and a privilege. It's not often you get to meet the owner of one of your favorite restaurants in the entire world. Todd Graves,
thank you.
welcome to the Music Universe. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm great. Well, before we get to the questions, I have always wanted to dig in and
Yes.
share some canes with the owner. So this is awesome.
Yeah, cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
How about it? I'm gonna do a little sauce on that.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's the good stuff right there.
this partnership with Parker, how did it come about?
Well, for me, I like to do, brand deals with people I love and respect, right? And so Parker and I became friends first. I was really impressed with him, like being a young man, and like our conversations would be around, growing, doing the right things for your fans, right? And so it's my customers, his fans, and the way things relate between chicken fingers or music. I mean, it's all relatable, right? And then giving back, and his questions from me, like, when did you know, like, the right things to give back to and causes to help and things like that. So I was really impressed by him. And then as his music career grew, we just, I don't know how it happens organically, but it's like, hey, let's help each other out, help promote each other, and some of them just proud to help endorse our brand.
It's awesome. Music in general, the importance of country music to Raising Cane's, because this is such authentic food, and country music is such an authentic brand of music.
Absolutely. I like all genres, literally all genres. And the good thing about all genres is you can actually capture different fan bases. So for me, as people like Parker represent great for country. And I like Parker a lot because he's a traditionalist too, right? Country music is going to change. And I think a lot of it's good for it. And that he's more of a traditionalist and when in his songwriting. And for me, as he plays those old, country type songs, but with that voice in a different way. Also, the self-deprecative music too, like You're Pretty Hard. He talks about not being a good guy and things like that. It's really real because he's just like I like that realness of him. I think it's cool.
Awesome. I think about country music, think about Parker, and he does one thing really well, and Cane's does one thing really, really well.
Yeah.
When you were founding Raising Cane's and were deciding to stick with one quality product, did you get any pushback? Was it like, no, you got to have a big menu?
Oh, absolutely. Look, this got the worst grade in a business planning class in college, and literally the plan. But I worked in restaurants in high school and college. That's how I got my spending money during when I was getting my education. And I knew the business. So, I had down this business plan, like down to what aprons would cost a week, right? So he said, no, the plan's great. But the professor said, you didn't follow your industry because people like McDonald's and these other companies are adding menu items, they're adding, because they didn't want this veto vote. Like somebody in the car didn't have a choice, they wouldn't go somewhere. And, your industry's going that way and you're just doing this one thing, you just don't really understand the restaurant business. And I was like, no, I knew, I was like, if you do one thing, and you do it exceptionally well, better than anybody else, and you can do it consistently, then it'll work. Because I could see, like, if you have a pizza company, they do just pizza. Most people order a cheese pizza or a pepperoni pizza. I'm like, you can do one thing great, but the key was if I did one menu selection like this, I could have one fry line. And I can get it with speed too, right? If you had different things, you'd have hold times, you'd have people thinking you'd have heat lamps, you'd have those just as simple. This is like cook to order, and that makes the difference.
That's awesome. I want to talk to you about growth. I discovered Raising Cane's. I have a friend named Terry Fader who's a Vegas headliner, and I was at his house, and he says, we're going to have Cane's. I said, what's that? Brings it, delicious tea, delicious thing, and then the Texas toast just put it over the top for me. And it was like a treat. If I was in the West or the South, had to have Cane's. Now, I live in D.C., you just opened your Union Station store. What has this growth for the restaurant been? It seems like it's been rapid, and it seems like you're finally now nationally everywhere.
Absolutely. I didn't want to grow the company. We've been in business now for almost 28 years, right? And we're hitting about 800 restaurants at this point. And I grew the business to the amount of restaurants we can open up, the most we could open up to run exceptionally well. And that's why we've been methodical approach in growing. But now we're like at 800 restaurants. We got about 110 in the pipeline for the next 12 months. And we're stretching out to different markets because I love it when people say, I don't know what Raising Cane's is. That's great for me because that is growth. Like, you're going to know it and I want to make you love it, right? And so for me, it's great. But then opening all these restaurants on the East Coast now is great. Like, we're in Southern Florida, Central Florida, D.C. area where you had it in Union Station, up Philly, New York. So I get these new fan bases there. I get to hire people from that community, which is great. They come in and have a great place to work. They got advancements opportunities. Like, we're internally promoting about 2,000 people to manager, this year. That's really great. And then what we do to give back and be a part of the community. So for me, it's a dream to be able to do that. And now that we hit all these different pockets in the country, it's really exciting to me.
Growth is authentic. The food is authentic. For the last question, I'll say, what has surprised you the most about the growth of Raising Cane's, especially into the Northeast?
The biggest surprise to me, I knew we would do well, but we're doing extraordinarily well on sales. And so I think I underestimated all the years building the brand, and then people having that pin-up demand that not being able to have it, right? And so, you're in D.C. So many people had moved to D.C. from different parts when they had their canes, and we got all these requests to go in there. They created the vibe and told their friends. And so for me, as the opening volumes and the growth, to me is the biggest surprise, just how well it's doing. And so it's exciting. And so, but look, for me, I feel like God made me good at chicken fingers to help people. And so this money that we make is going to eventually go back to help people. That makes sense. So for me, it's just that purpose about it. That's what excites me.
Awesome. Todd Graves, a pleasure.
It was
Thank
great
you so
having
much.
you here, man. What a good time and
awesome.
Good food and good conversation.
I love the chicken. I love the fries. I love the cane sauce. But for me, this is the key. The Texas toast is just delicious.
My daughter and I, we always get double toast.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Thank you to Raising Cane's for sponsoring this episode. Thank you to Parker McCollum for spending some time with us. And thank you to Todd Graves for talking about one of the true entrepreneurial successes of the United States. Just an incredible story. And Raising Cane's, probably, if you don't have them, expanding near you soon, partnering with a bunch of musicians, partnering with Parker, and going to keep growing.
So until next time, check us out, and I'm Buddy. Check us out at themusicuniverse.com and tmupod.com, as well as all of our socials. We'll see you later.
Now we're going to eat.
This edition of the Music Universe podcast is sponsored by Raising Cane's.